Have some tips on how to transform graphs. Essentially, you want to think about having a function in its general form like that. And then there's two manipulations that might be made. One is to double the function itself. In English, what does that mean? Well, if you have the same amount of f of x, right? If x is the same value, you're going to get twice as much y. Now what happens if we put that, now notice that the 2 here is outside the function. Looking at the next example, we're inside. It's inside the function. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that you could have the same f of x, the same y, with half as much x. Half as much x. So I'm trying to do that to give you a little bit of intuition. So here we are on ALEK's. We've got a question, and it says that we've got 1/2 of x, the function of 1/2 x. This means that we're going to need twice as much x to get the same amount of y. So if I want to get y equal to -4, and before that would require 2x, now it's going to take 4x. So I'm going to draw a little blue cross, make a little point there. Now if we can see by the original function here that if x is equal to 0, y will be equal to 0. So multiplying 0 by 1/2 is not going to change that, so the origin stays the same. And similarly, on the other side of the diagram, if -2x got us -4y, now it's going to take -4x to get -4y, because it's going to take twice as much x to get us there. I'm going to just draw the lines. Now I got to draw 2 lines. And so we've stretched the function out to the left and the right because we need more x to get the same y. So let's see if that was correct. And it was correct. So we needed twice as much x to get the same amount of y. So a parabola looks something like this. Or maybe like this. All right, and it just keeps going off in that direction. This form here would be something like y is equal to -2x squared plus 4x plus 4, something like that. And when this is negative, we're going to get a max up here. The one on the right could be something like 2x squared minus 4x, and it looks like, oh, maybe -4. Something like that, and where if this term is positive, this is going to be a min. And so this one over here is decreasing as the absolute value of x increases. And over here, y is increasing as the absolute value of x increases. Here, the max, this is the vertex. The vertex is a max. Here, the min is also the vertex. The vertex is the min. So the question is asking us to find the vertex. There are a few ways to find the vertex. I'm just going to show you how to do it by trial and error, essentially. There are other ways, but we don't use them. They don't come up very much in economics, so I won't spend too much time on that unless you really want me to. You're more than welcome to ask me questions, I guess via email if we're doing distance, or after class if we're in person. So for trial and error, I will just guess that x is equal to 0. If x is equal to 0, y in this case is going to be equal to -2. Parabolas have certain properties that are going to help me with my guess. I know that this parabola, the square term is positive. So the vertex is going to occur at the minimum. So I can plug and play with some numbers and see if I can find that minimum. I know that a parabola has a certain amount of symmetry. If I draw a straight line coming up from the vertex, then the distance from that straight line to each of its wings is going to be the same. Looking back at my guess, when x was equal to 0, y was equal to -2. Well, why don't I guess, okay, well, what happens if x is equal to 1? Well, then I get 3 times 1 squared plus 6 minus 2. And that's going to give me 7. So it's quite a bit higher than -2. Now, if I can show that x is at -1 is greater than y is equal to -2, then I'll know that at x0, y equal -2, we've got the vertex. So I'm going to guess x is equal to -1. I get 3 times -1 squared plus 6 times -1 minus 2. And I end up with -5. Now I know that x0, y -2 is not, well, maybe I should make it a little more formal here. I know that the pair 0, -2 is not the vertex. But all hope is not lost, because the coordinate -1, -5 might be the vertex. So I'm going to guess x is equal to -2, and I've got y is going to be equal to -2 squared times 3 plus 6 times -2 minus 2, and I've got 12 minus 12 minus 2, which equals to -2. So therefore, -1, -5 is the vertex. I did that by guessing, and I know that since it's a parabola, with the square term, this term right here being positive, I know that once I find the minimum point, that's going to be the vertex. And because of symmetry, any other value of x is going to give a higher value of y. We can now go over to ALEK, and I'll show you how to graph this parabola in ALEK. Anywhere feature in ALEK, and that's this little diagram here with the x on it. So I'm going to click on that, and it says plot a point anywhere. And I'm going to go down to here, and I'm just going to put in all our coordinates. That we calculated before. And notice that every time I do that and I click the plot a point, button, a little X appears. Okay, so I've plotted the points of the parabola. And then all I had to do is press this button right here. And Alex sort of knows what to do with the plot points. Now let's see if it's correct. And it was correct.